I don't regret the vote, Bradley Bartell said after his wife was detained by ICE after they returned home from their honeymoon. Incredible stuff. Bradley Bartell's wife, Camila Munoz, is a Peruvian citizen who overstayed her initial visa but was working towards obtaining permanent residency within the United States. Despite the couple's ordeal, Bartell still supports Trump, who has vowed to conduct the largest mass deportation operation in human history. I don't regret the vote, Bartell told Newsweek in an exclusive statement. Well, that's nice. In February, Munoz and Bartell traveled to Puerto Rico to finally take their honeymoon, and upon returning to the U.S. mainland, immigration agents stopped Munoz and asked whether she was an American citizen. When she explained she wasn't but was in the process of obtaining a green card, they detained her. She is being held in an ICE facility in Louisiana. Wait, still? I'm sorry. I guess in my head, I was imagining that they had been returned together at this point. Like it was like a one-day detention. He's getting asked this while his wife is in a fucking on a stretching rack. Cuck. Oh, cuck, massive cuck. This guy's like, yeah, I'd let like 50 ICE agents rail my wife. Yeah, I mean, glory to Trump or whatever. I'm sure she'll be really happy to see this interview on Newsweek when she gets out. It's not like she has internet right now. She's going to get out and she's going to be like, hi, honey, what happened? And he's like, don't Google our names ever. for the single most prominent news search result that'll happen whenever you Google either of our names for the rest of our lives. Jesus Christ. Speaking with Newsweek, Bartell described the emotional toll of watching his wife being detained. It's all been a nightmare, really, taking things so they come and moving forward. We have an attorney. The system for getting people through seems to be very inefficient, so it is taking longer than it should. Still, Bartell stood by his vote for Trump. Since sharing his story, he has faced intense public scrutiny. Really? I've received a lot of hateful messages, plenty of people saying we deserve this, and a lot of other insults, he said, acknowledging the backlash. Bartell has criticized ICE and called for reform. ICE never really has any information, it seems. The system needs to be revamped for better processes and communication between departments. He said the situation had forced him to consider drastic options in the event that his wife is deported. It had crossed my mind to move to Peru if she gets deported, but it would be very difficult for my son, he said. Regarding Trump, Bartell said, he didn't create the system, but he does have an opportunity to improve it. Hopefully, all this attention will bring to light how broken it is. Incredible. I mean, on one hand, enormous cuck, right? On the other hand, it is revealing of how little information people have, right? Because this isn't just being cucked to Trump, because if it was just being cucked to Trump, he would be like, yeah, my wife was an unfortunate like casualty in the great war we're fighting against illegals destroying our country or whatever. So for him to be like, yeah, you know, Trump is the guy who I really expect to make the immigration system less overbearing and more efficient. Like that's just revealing of overwhelming media control on the part of the right. He doesn't pay attention to the news. No, you don't understand. No one does. No one does. No one looks at literally, like, look at where people get their information from. People just go, like, find their shit on social media. Other Trump supporters have been similarly affected by the president's aggressive immigration enforcement operations. Earlier this month, ICE detained Genzi Macaro, a naturalized U.S. citizen. Oh, great, a U.S. citizen in Northern Virginia. They just got out of the car with their guns in their hands and say, turn off the car, give me the keys, open the window, you know, everything was really fast. That's great. Just a citizen. Mercado added, I voted for Trump last election, but because I thought it was going to be the things, you know, like just go against criminals, not every Hispanic looking, like that they will assume that we are all illegals. Did they ask whether he regrets his vote? The guy's asking for donations, the first one? Jesus Christ. Like, genuinely, you guys do need to know. Like, Germany issues travel warning for the U.S. Is this not the travel warning? It's the other one? It's a travel advisory, not a warning. Yeah, whatever. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, like, people get their news from the social media bubble, and all of the algorithms are controlled by right-wing oligarchs, you know? Like, again, I maintain that he's a cuck, because I think that regardless of your media environment, to respond this way after your wife has been detained like this, insane. But it goes beyond that, right? There's a reason why basically every Trump supporter in real life, when you ask them like why what's going on is happening, they're either unaware of it or they're like, yeah, well, you know, that seems concerning, but I don't have any problems with it because he said he's not going to touch Medicaid. And it's like, what do you mean? If ICE officials are outside your car and ask you to get out, is there anything you could do to avoid getting disappeared? You have to get out if cops are asking you to get out of your car. Like, you're not, there's no, like, magic spell out of that one. If ICE shows up around your car and they're pointing guns at you and they're like, get out of the car, you're fucking Mexican, dude, you're fucking Mexican. Like, you have to get out of the car, I'm sorry. You're pretty at that point. You simply don't be Mexican. It's been going great for me. I've even managed to develop an approximate resistance to spicy foods simply by eating their food my whole life. Bradley Bartell, who told Newsweek he does not regret voting for the president, is looking to raise $3,000. Man, just $3,000? That's, in a way, that's even more sad because it's just not a lot of money. Like, this guy's actually just trying to piece together. It's not even like a right-wing grift thing or whatever. He's actually just trying to get a little bit of money to help with it. He doesn't care. No, it's not that he doesn't care. Again, like, it's not, it could be that he's like a sociopath or whatever, but I think 3,000 is a lot of money. 3,000 is not a lot of money in the context of a highly publicized GoFundMe pertaining to like a massive political issue like this. It's like, I actually need help with a thing money, not I'm turning this into a book tour money. I'm just used to it being more. Not a lot in terms of like getting bail. I mean, it's not grift money is what I'm saying. Maybe he's trying not to get disappeared himself by pretending he'd vote for Trump again. There is a non-zero possibility that he genuinely thinks that by saying he still supports Trump, it increases the likelihood of his wife getting out. And that thought is actually despair-inducing. Like, I'm not saying that's likely. That might be like a 5% thing or whatever, but that is possible. And the worst part is that might actually have an influence. Yeah, he might, if that is true, he might be right. I don't know. This just makes me sad, dude. No wonder media is so cynical when this is real life. Don't bring that back. But I think that cynicism in media is part of the reason why we're here. People who believe that nothing can get better, that we're all being taken advantage of all the time. You know what I think we need to do? We need to be radically earnest and optimistic about the wonders of modern life and modern civilization. Unironically, we need to be like, oh my God, roads and sidewalks, street lamps, illuminated city streets, crimes down on average. Oh my God, USPS delivers to every address in the United States, come rain, wind, or snow. They have a mule that they take down to the basin of the Grand Canyon to deliver to the addresses there. Oh my God. Yeah, we need to be active advocates for things that are good, because when people believe that everything is bad and there's no way of fixing it, when they get cynical like that, people believe it, and then you get shit like this. If you don't think the government can do anything good, then they gut it. You don't get Social Security. You don't get Medicaid. People get apathetic, exactly. And the apathy is one of the main reasons we are where we are right now. Trump supporters, in my opinion, in my experience, very apathetic people. They talk about, like, you know, breaking it all down, building it up or whatever, but overwhelmingly, I think it's because they don't want to, I don't think they can imagine themselves being part of a political movement. I think they want like a strong man to take care of it. They can't imagine a better world or what they could do to build a better world. They just want somebody to like make anything move, right? Because doesn't apathy tend to lead you into that mindset? Nothing matters, therefore whatever, break it all down. Nothing matters, so fuck it. Like, it's a very common, it's like a 1-2, right? Are we against accelerationism? No, I didn't say that. Of the hundreds of vicious Tren de Aragua murderers, etc., that were sent over to the El Salvador concentration camp. But you can use these interchangeably, by the way. Concentration camp, gulag, slave camp. These are all definitionally correct. You know, it really just, yeah, it's the English language. It's a broad language. It gives us many synonyms. You can use them to spice up your sentences as you prefer. Not a death camp, not technically. Torture prison is correct. Potato is correct. You can say that. Labor camp is correct. Will it be a death camp in the future when they start to run out of room? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. One of the fellas they sent over. Man deported to El Salvador under Alien Enemies Act because of soccer logo tattoo. This is the fellow that I was talking about. Really, really, really sad. Jose Reyes Barrios, I think. An attorney representing a migrant sent to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act said her client was deported due to a soccer logo tattoo, according to court declarations submitted Wednesday night. Yeah. Lynette Tobin is representing Jose Reyes Barrios, a professional soccer player from Venezuela who protested the Maduro regime in February and March 2024 and was detained and tortured after one of the demonstrations. Barrios came to the U.S.-Mexico border legally through the CBP One app in September 2024, but has been accused of being a Tren de Aragua member and was detained at a facility under maximum security. Yes, the vicious gang tattoo. Of course, the Trump administration has declared that all of the legal processes that one might use to declare asylum status are actually illegal. Remember, we saw that last stream. Somebody was saying, what was the exact parlance used by that, I think, Fox News reporter, where they were like, they need a judge would know if they were meant to be there, like to defend a person being deported before they're hearing before a judge. It was like, well, if they were here legally, would they even need to talk to a judge? But talking to a judge is how you know whether you're there legally. That's how you, like, participate in the asylum process. They both want them to participate in the asylum process legally, but also don't want them to engage with it at all. There's no sense in it, obviously. That's not what she said. Well, she said something like that. Feel free to supply your memory of the event, my friend. Any Tren de Aragua experts in the chat want to tell me whether or not this is one of their tattoos? Declaration of Lynette Tobin. So this is the lawyer representing the man. I, Lynette Tobin, do hereby declare the following under penalty of perjury. So this is a sworn statement. I am the immigration attorney for Jose Barrios, born in Venezuela. In February and March 2024, Reyes Barrios marched in 2 demonstrations in Venezuela protesting the authoritarian rule of Maduro. At the second demonstration, he was detained and taken to a clandestine building where he was tortured, electric shocks, and suffocation along with other demonstrators. Shortly after his release, he fled Venezuela for the United States. He registered with CBP One in Mexico, then presented himself to the CBP officials on the day of his appointment. He was taken into custody and detained at Otay Mesa Detention Facility on September 2024. We applied for asylum, withholding of removal, and CAT protection in December 2024. His final individual hearing is set for April 17, 2025, before Judge Robinson at the Otay Mesa Immigration Court. On March 15th, Reyes Barrios was deported to El Salvador with no notice to counsel or family. It was not until March 18th that counsel was able to reach an ICE official and learned he had in fact been deported. He was/is a professional soccer player in Venezuela. He has never been arrested or charged with a crime. He has a steady employment record as a soccer player as well as a soccer coach for children and youth. Initially, Mr. Reyes Barrios was placed in maximum security at Otay Mesa and accused of being a Tren de Aragua gang member. The accusation is based on 2 things. First, he has a tattoo on his arm of a crown sitting atop a soccer ball with a rosary and the word Dios. Classic, as an expert in Spanish culture, classic Spanish culture. Tren de Aragua gang tattoo. Right there. The classic Tren de Aragua gang tattoo. It was a photorealistic tattoo of an elderly woman with Mi Madre tattooed underneath it on like a ribbon banner, you know? They use this to communicate rank to each other in the Tren de Aragua, you know, in the operations on the field. DHS alleges that this tattoo is proof of gang membership. Now, again, I know there are going to be people out there, not many at this point, but some, who argue that this is like massive ignorance or incompetence. Just remember, they know they're lying. Right now, ICE and the DHS, by the way, which are staffed entirely by the most Hitlerite brown shirts alive. Okay, these are like the average police department is already like 85% Trump supporters, and ICE and DHS officials, that's a step or 2 beyond that. Okay, we are talking about like they will only hire you if you are the kind of person who would say, yeah, that soccer ball tattoo, definitely Tren de Aragua. Let's put him in the, you know, the torture chamber. You know, let's put him in the oubliette. They're fully aware. And right now there are no holds on their behavior. There's no check. There's no balance. The federal government is completely okay with what they're doing. They love it. The cruelty is deliberate. I don't think these are being done at the direction of the federal government. Maybe the federal government is saying, hey, turn it up a few notches. I don't think they're going like, yeah, go after Mr. Barrios or whatever. I think that we are seeing essentially like deputized brown shirts. We're seeing the in-between point of a police state and like random Nazi mercenary or civilian gangs, where they're not operating lawfully, but they are operating with a badge. This stuff like this is really common in fascist regimes, when you're at that in-between point where you have enough government power that you don't need to rely on the behavior of the citizenry. You don't need to rely on like random stochastic terror, but you haven't like fully co-opted the legal system. So you don't just have the law that says you can do whatever you want. You basically just give free reign, free permission. Second, DHS reviewed a social media post and found a photo of Mr. Reyes Barrios making a hand gesture that they allege is proof of gang membership. In fact, the gesture is a common one that means I love you in sign language and commonly used as a rock and roll symbol. Tren de Aragua uses this gesture to communicate with one another. Look, all I'm going to say is if they're using evidence like this to send people to concentration camps in El Salvador, they can do it to you. They're not going to stop with Venezuelans. They're already going after regular people at the border. There have been citizens that have been detained and released out with no explanation. Obviously, the first people to go, political dissidents, foreigners, brown people, undocumented immigrants, people in the asylum process. But there's no reason why ICE and DHS or the customs officials would begin with barring people from entry if they're anti-Trump and not extend that further. You understand me, don't you? There's no political logic to customs agents engaging in that kind of discriminatory behavior against French researchers or German bands or whatever, or sorry, they're British bands, and not turning it against the citizenry. Spider-Man is part of Tren de Aragua now with that hand sign. I mean, they would make that argument for miles, probably. Can other Western countries intervene on behalf of their citizens? Well, intervene how? Invade the United States? We are rapidly reaching a point where Western nations might start making more of a fuss. It is like, this is one of the benefits of being a citizen of a country. If you, as a citizen of America, Britain, Germany, whatever, get into trouble abroad, you can usually rely on, at the very least, having the opportunity to contact an embassy, consulate, whatever, to see if they won't help you or petition on their behalf. It helps avoid international incidents. And what they're going to find, because I guarantee you right now, okay, listen, I'm telling you this for sure. Right now, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of foreigners, not just undocumented immigrants or asylum seekers, but foreigners who have been detained at our borders, who are in some part of the process of being held in ICE facilities, in detention at airports, elsewhere, and they are lighting up their embassies. They're calling and they're asking, hey, Canada, hey, Mexico, hey, Germany, Britain, France, Italy, Spain, whatever, can you do something? And those embassies, the representatives from those embassies, they're making calls. And what are they finding? U.S. Customs, I guarantee you, are not being compliant. I don't know how non-compliant they're being. I don't know if like Customs is getting a call and they're picking it up and they're going like, sorry, Trump won, slam. I don't know. I can't say. I have no idea. But over time, the increasing hostility is going to beget more and more severe travel warnings from other countries. Things are going to worsen really quickly because the artifice of like fair play has been completely shattered, right? The presumption that no matter what happens, we can all work it out in the back end, that's gone. What about El Salvador? Can't they talk to them? No. If you're in El Salvador, when you get down to El Salvador, that's it. Like, once you're down there, you're gone. It's over. Maybe that changes in the future, but do you think when good guys are in charge again, they'll trust the U.S.? I don't think there's any repairing this damage without massive transformational change. A Venezuelan mother found out her son had been sent to the El Salvador camp after seeing him on a news report and TV. Jesus. That's really grim. Mother spots son deported from U.S. in MAGA prison footage. Yeah. Good guys in charge again. When were the good guys in charge? Dems have supported ICE all along. That is true. Department of Homeland Security was created under the Bush administration. It was fledgling when Obama took it. Obama expanded it massively and deported a record number of people. That's true. Thanks, Obama. A former ICE assistant director outlined all the ways ICE is straight up lying right now. Well, that's a lot of words. Declaration of Deborah Fleischer. Began working on immigration detention issues in 2011, a career employee at the DHS Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. A little contradictory, but, you know. I see, okay. This is all part of that ongoing court case. It really does make me wonder. I don't know. Do you think they could detain/deport someone as high profile as, say, Mehdi Hassan or Ilhan Omar? I mean, those are likely... Like, you've named, like, two of the people I would expect him to go after most likely. Like, a big opening blow. Mehdi Hassan is a big figure, but not as big as Ilhan Omar, of course, as a representative. But yeah, you know, any number of things. Sympathy for terrorism, etc., etc. AOC, I assume, was first? No. It would be like Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, whatever. Trump already threatened her, didn't he? Oh, yeah, he's threatened her multiple times. Isn't John Oliver a citizen? I don't think you understand the point here. The point is that it doesn't matter. That's the point. Like, they're going after groups in order of convenience here, you know? But they're already turning away people at the border for being anti-Trump. They're already saying, like, like every day on TV, Trump and his cohorts are saying that being anti-Trump should be a crime. Essentially. Once anyone can be deported without trial, everyone can. Or once a person can, anyone can, I should say. Did you see Elon said the 60 Minutes folks should be put in prison? They say this about literally everyone that criticizes them. Trump and Elon say this about everyone in their way. The scariest part about all this is that no one's paying attention to it. I was recently talking to a normie friend and he was like, I don't like the tariffs, but some of the deportations are good, I guess. Yeah, part of it is like the media capture as well, because in a normal society, everything that's happening right now would be like extra, like every street corner, people be screaming about it from the rooftops. But right now it's like, I don't know, it's like 20 million Americans get all their news from Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's opening every episode with, dude, they f***ed with the wrong autistic billionaire. Elon's going to f*** them up or something like that. So they're not really getting that information. Yeah, people are in a pretty captured media environment right now.